Mr Attorney-General, surely the two Cs, COVID and China's bullying, intimidation and degradation, now make self-reliance a national imperative. Consequently, would you overrule Joyce Qantas's sacking of 2,000 baggage handlers and the offshoring of this high-security work to a Chinese corporation, with most of our mining reserves, sugar mills, major farms and 55% of our electricity already gone? Doesn't government need urgently to demonstrate a slowdown in the sell-off of Australia?
The Attorney-General has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for his question, and it, I guess, has two components, one with respect to the foreign ownership of assets and the first component with respect to the workplace relation issue of the outsourcing decision that Qantas has made. Perhaps if I deal with the second of those issues first. I mean, obviously the government shares community concerns around the way in which Australian assets are owned or not owned by foreign governments, and I think it's fair to say that, having recognised those community concerns, the foreign ownership of certain Australian assets like mines and sugar mills and matters that you've raised, there has never been a stronger foreign investment review framework than the one instituted and operated by this government in the history of this country. So we recognise those issues, but I think it is fair to say that this side of the House and this government has instituted the strongest possible framework around those very difficult decisions. And dealing with your first issue and touching on difficult decisions, I mean, it's obviously the case that every single member of this House is extremely sympathetic, not merely to people that have lost their jobs or have less hours, but those people that have been the subject of commercial decisions like the one that you've raised, which must be intensely difficult also for the people that are raising them. And I note that the issue of Qantas's outsourcing has been the comment in questions from the opposition, obviously from yourself, member. As I've listened to those, I think it was Richard Branson who said that the simplest way to become a millionaire is to start with $1 billion and buy an airline. And the history of airlines continentally and transcontinentally in America and Australia and Europe is that they are intensely difficult organisations to run. And dare I say it, there's probably a good reason why, member, you're not running one, or I'm not, or the Leader of the Opposition isn't running one, because we wouldn't do it very well. And Qantas has made an intensely difficult decision.
The Attorney-General will pause for a second. The member for Lyons will leave under 94A. Attorney-General has the call.
Qantas has made an intensely difficult decision, but if airlines are hard to run in the best of times, can we pause and imagine how difficult it has been to run an airline during the period of COVID? Now, the government has invested $2.7 billion in saving thousands and thousands of jobs and keeping our airline industry afloat and reconnected. Obviously, the more in which borders restrictions can be relaxed, the better that industry will do, which is an absolute imperative. But there is neither an ability, I think, of the minister to overturn that decision, but I think some caution should also attach with being both defensive of those decisions or overly critical of them. Enormous sympathy for people, obviously, who are finding their terms and conditions in their employment change because of very difficult decisions like that. But I have to be clear, I have no power to overrule a decision like that of Qantas. And one of the things that we can't slip to easily in this House is Monday morning quarterbacking and the idea that people here have got better acumen or interest or ability to run businesses that are as complicated as those that were the subject of your question.